Welcome to Talk of the Bay, your local talk program brought to you every weekday at 5 p.m. I'm your host, Suki Wessling, and today we're covering upcoming downtown improvements, events, and development. I'm joined by four people who will talk about the changes you've seen and what's coming this summer. Jorian Wilkins is the Executive Director for the Downtown Association of Santa Cruz. Welcome, Jorian.
Hi, Suki. Great to be here.
Shiri Graydek is the Brand Director for Downtown Association. Welcome, Shiri.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Nikki Patterson is Director of Development and Communications at the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you for having me.
And finally, Zachary Davis is the co-founder of the Penny Ice Creamery and the Glass Jar. Welcome, Zach.
Hello, great to be with y'all.
So we've got four people talking about four different aspects of downtown, things that we're going to see happening in the near future, hopefully, some events, some updates. And so I wanted to start with you, Jorian, and just give us an overview of there's so many things we can talk about. So what are some things you think we should talk about?
There's always so many good things happening downtown. It's spring, so we're in the middle of tons of street fairs, events, festivals, sidewalk sales. So lots of reasons to come downtown. I'm so glad Nikki from the Museum of Art and History is here because lots always going on at the mall. And I know Penny Ice Creamery is part of a really special event on Cooper Street, also downtown this summer. So you're going to hear about all of that this hour. I also hope that we get to talk about some of the new development downtown. A lot of people drive through downtown and see the construction and wonder what's going on. There's a lot going on, and a lot the community has to look forward to. Riverfront developments, a lot of new housing. So I'm happy to share more about those new developments. And there are tons of new businesses opening downtown. So
great.
We look forward to telling you about all that.
Yeah. And so tell us what, just so that we know, maybe Shiri, you can tell us this, what is the Downtown Association? What's its scope? What do you do?
Essentially, we serve the businesses in the downtown district. We do advocacy, promotions, marketing, events. Our goal is to bring people downtown and have a thriving business district. Mm-hmm. So we will do anything under the sun to make that happen.
And why? Let's start with this because I know why it's important, but maybe listeners are thinking, why is this important? Why do we care about this?
It's a great question.
One huge reason is, only about 10% of our businesses downtown are owned by a chain or, some business you could find somewhere else. 90% of our businesses are locally owned by families who live right here in Santa Cruz. For me, that's a huge reason to go downtown. You're supporting your neighbors, you're supporting families in your community, and you're surrounding yourself with unique things that are local and bespoke to Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm. And to tag on to that, when you have more businesses that are mom and pop, you keep more of that money in the community. So I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. There's plenty of studies that, when you buy at a chain, those profits leave the community. But when you buy from a local mom and pop, those profits stay. They They donate to community organizations. They pay higher wages to their employees, and then spend that money in the community. So it's economically, it's a windfall for a community to have such a robust, small economy like we have in downtown.
And quite unusual these days because so many downtowns have declined so much. So we really, and that then attracts the tourists who are not looking to see the same chain stores that they have in their town. Why would they come all the way here for that? So I wanted to actually ask Zach if you'd like to chime in on this since you are a local business owner. what do you see in Santa Cruz downtown that makes it such a vibrant business community?
Yeah, we at our last Downtown Association board meeting, actually, we went around and each of the board members talked about the downtowns that they grew up in. And it was really revelatory for me to hear about those growing up experiences. And it just brought into focus what a special downtown we have here in Santa Cruz. And I think it's been special for a long time, but like the other folks have been saying, it is more special now in that it has continued to retain this unique character, the number of locally owned businesses. I mean, I can just say, speaking for myself, my business partner and I, we worked at the downtown library on our business plan, and we utilized resources within the downtown, within the Santa Cruz community to get started, working with a local bank, all these things that we felt very fortunate to have access to, and you just continue to see that happening today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you employ lots of local people who might have to drive somewhere if they weren't working here.
Yeah, employing local people, working with local ag, which is just fantastic. We go and we pick up ingredients at the downtown farmers market, along with, I don't know, I think that maybe not everyone realizes that quite a few downtown restaurants utilize the downtown farmers market as a hub for picking up produce. There's kind of this secondary set of retail or wholesale, I should say, activity that goes on at that market, where the locally owned businesses, food service businesses come and pick up ingredients, and it's just there's so much cool stuff that goes on in downtown.
Yeah, when you see one of those people hauling around a wagon full of food.
Oh yeah, it makes my heart happy to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you often see David from Chocolate Restaurant with his wagon, and Alon from Barceloneta. She goes every Wednesday to get her produce for her restaurant as well.
That's great. And that's, it's funny because Santa Cruz is not a small town, but there's just this old-fashioned small townness to that. And so what other aspects of Santa Cruz's downtown do you, as an association, feel are important to support?
Well, just to continue the economic discussion, the Downtown Association has a program called Downtown Dollars, and it's a great way, again, to keep money in our downtown district. When people buy Visa gift cards, for example, there's fees for using it, there's fees to purchase it, and the Downtown Dollar program is no cost to businesses. It's no cost to people who buy them and gift them. The recipients use the amount at full value, and like Zach was talking about, local businesses utilizing the farmers market. For example, when the businesses receive Downtown Dollars, they can receive or they can get reimbursed 100% from the Downtown Association for those Downtown Dollars. And if they choose, they can gift them to their employees, who could then spend them at other downtown businesses. They can use them to buy supplies. We know that Shogun Sushi often takes their Downtown Dollars and they go across the street to New Leaf and they buy last minute supplies that they need. So it's this very small local economy just with the Downtown Dollar program. And
they're accepted at over 85 different businesses downtown, movie theaters, spas, restaurants, the
retail,
Museum
everything.
of Art and History, so that you can pretty much go do almost anything you want downtown and go shopping anywhere with your Downtown Dollars.
And they never expire.
Wow, cool. And you just buy them anywhere?
You can buy them.
Stores?
Yeah, you can buy them at our info kiosk. You can buy them online, or you can buy them at Bookshop Santa Cruz and Pacific Cookie Company.
Okay. That's interesting. I've never even really noticed them, but there they are.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, right in time for Mother's Day and graduation. These are great
Teacher
gifts. Local gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for those of us who are trying ourselves to keep things local. That's a much more ethical gift than an Amazon.com card.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yes, and they can be regifted if someone doesn't necessarily have a use for them or they don't come down very often. It just goes on and on. It's really the gift that keeps on giving. So, and you can't go wrong because with 85 choices, it really just gives a lot of flexibility for gift giving.
Okay. And so, Nikki, why don't you talk a little bit about what's happening at the museum right now?
Well, we just wrapped up Earth Day 2023. That was a community collaboration with ourselves, also city and county, and Hotel Paradox, who coordinated the Upper San Lorenzo Park festivities. So looking forward, we have the Kids Day celebration downtown. We're partnered with the Downtown Association with that.
This Saturday,
yes,
on the
this
29th.
coming Saturday.
So explain what Kids Day is for people who might be listening and don't know about it.
Kids Day, I think our tagline is Kids Take Over Downtown. We close Cooper Street and part of Pacific Avenue between Church and Locust, and we have over 3 dozen community booths and community-based groups, schools or craft places, dance studios. They all have a booth, and they all offer a free family activity from 12 to 4 this coming Saturday.
Okay.
In addition, we have 2 performance stages. In the Abbott Square stage, we have teen rock bands playing from 12 to 4, mostly from Be Natural Music. And on our Pacific Avenue stage, we have circus performers, we have dancers from International Academy of Dance, we have Atlantis Fantasy World owner Joe Ferrara. He's singing and playing
right,
guitar,
Joe.
and yeah,
Hi, Joe.
So
He's sat in that very chair.
I bet. Yeah, he's played at Kids Day before, and so everything is just really kid themed. In addition to our event footprint on Cooper Street, many downtown businesses are offering in-store specials. I'll let Zach chime in here because he's offering one.
Oh, go ahead, Zach.
Oh yeah, we're doing a free mini scoop for all the kids for Kids Day. So
All right.
looking forward to
Remind our listeners who we are.
Oh, yep, the Penny Ice Creamery, 913 Cedar Street.
All right. So go get your ice cream.
And also at the MA, it's free admission for the day as well. So family,
Wow.
come with your kids. We'll have some activities like a scavenger hunt, and they can win a prize. And then we have exhibitions on view right now are the Bay of Life from Wind to Wales, the Franz Lanting exhibition, as well as the Writing on the Wall, Santa Cruz, which is a collaboration with UCSC's IAS, the Institute of Arts and Sciences. And that is a beautiful but very thoughtful exhibition as well. But we welcome everyone to come and join us.
Great. And, my kids are grown up now, but we always loved Kids Day. And it's, again, one of these things about downtown being something more than just, yet another district of Santa Cruz. And what do you feel, families, of course, are concerned sometimes about going downtown. I've heard this. I'm always amazed at how many people will say things about, oh, I don't know if I want my kids there. What do you hope that people get from a day like this?
Yeah, I always say if you haven't been downtown in a while, it's a good time to come down and check it out. Earth Day was a great example. Seeing San Lorenzo Park activated the way it was with concerts and tons of families playing on, my kids call it Dragon Slide. But it was just wonderful to see the park full of so many families and so many healthy activities. And then that was connected over the bridge, right over all the way to the mall. And the mall was offering free admission, and there was tons going on Cooper Street and Abbott and in Abbott Square and on Pacific Avenue, just like there will be again this Saturday. And then this Saturday is another great day to come down. You're going to be surrounded by kids, great organizations, great families, and you're going to be reminded of all the great places that downtown has and all the wonderful safe spaces that are all available throughout downtown. And there's also tons and tons of new businesses opening. We had over 20 businesses open in 2022. We've seen, I have a list here, like over 8 businesses open already in 2023. Downtown is really booming, and if you haven't been there in a while, I think you'll be surprised and happily surprised by how many great new places there are. And there's always resources when you're downtown. We have a dedicated community service officers from the Santa Cruz PD. We have ambassadors who are on the streets from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. So there's lots of great resources, especially dedicated to downtown when things do come up. And I'm a mom. I raised 3 sons within a few blocks of Pacific Avenue. One of them who's still 12, and we're downtown all the time. They're on their own a lot. I think it's a great, safe place to be with families.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I have an 11 and a 14-year-old, both girls, and they've grown up downtown. And it's, I mean, I feel like it's a great place. Mm-hmm. And especially if, now for the tween and teen, they need somewhere to go. And they need somewhere where they can feel independent. And so it's nice to have a city center for them to walk
mm-hmm.
around and be with their friends.
Agreed. I have a 16-year-old, and she also works downtown. So, there's so many options for all ages, and I'm just very encouraged by our upcoming programming that's going on too. So mm-hmm. we can speak to that a little more.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. We're going to take a break in just a minute, but I wanted to follow up with what the 3 of you just said. It's really great that we have 3 moms of kids in the room mm-hmm. who are saying, yes, they need this. And there's so much research coming out that's saying a lot of what's going on, especially with teenagers and tweens and mental health issues, is a lack of community connectedness. And that all of this disconnectedness, all of this, not just the stuff that was forced on us during COVID, but also playing solo video games instead of going outside and hanging out with whoever happens to be there. And all of this stuff is resulting in kids being so much less confident of themselves. Mm-hmm. And that when kids are confident and they go out on their own in places that are good places for them, where they have resources, if, say, someone does say something to them or whatever, they have resources. There's adults at every store who'd be willing to help mm-hmm. them. And that gives them the confidence, oh, this thing happened and it was a bad thing, but it wasn't the worst thing. And I got through it. And that this builds a lot of positive mental health in teenagers.
It's skill building.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. It really is.
One thing we all force our kids to do is to volunteer for us, because we run
that.
so many events downtown. But as you were saying all that, I think it's actually a great opportunity to shout out. There's tons of volunteer opportunities for teens downtown too. If you want to be part of helping put on Kids Day, putting on the community's holiday parade, be part of putting on numerous MA events, mm-hmm. you can go on to, Nikki can tell you to go on to the MA website. I'm sure there's a way to find out.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about
14-year-olds.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about volunteerism when we come back. All of Talk of the Bay shows, with only occasional exceptions, are podcasted, and you can actually subscribe to our podcast and get them on your phone or whatever you listen to podcasts on. And because we have all these different hosts covering all sorts of really cool and interesting and very diverse topics about Santa Cruz. And so I highly recommend that you subscribe to our podcast. And since Talk of the Bay, I'll say this as the wife of a computer scientist, is not a very good search term, please do search for Talk of the Bay KSQD in your favorite podcast program. All right. So we are here, Talk of the Bay, talking about downtown, and we just ended talking about some volunteerism and talking about teenagers and kids in general and community. And volunteerism is one of my huge things. I mean, here I am. This station is almost completely run on volunteer energy, and it's so helpful for kids. So, Nikki, can you talk about the museum's volunteer opportunities and what you've seen as far as kids who come and volunteer and how it helps them to help other people?
It's hands-on experience. We have volunteers of all ages that come to help support MA programs. Most recently, of course, Earth Day, we had teenagers come who, as you were stating before, are dealing with some anxiety issues, and they were kind of nervous to come forth and work in such a public platform. But they excelled and shined, and they're so excited to come back. Not only did we have teens, we also had some community leaders join us to volunteer, which is really heartwarming. I think people are looking for a way to connect with community, and volunteering is, an outstanding way to do that without a huge commitment. So, yes, if you're interested to learn more about volunteering with the MA, you would just go to santacruzma.org/volunteer, or you can reach out to me as well. You can find me on our website, and I can point you in the right direction. We have a lot of opportunities. We do school field trips as well. We're always looking for volunteers with those opportunities. And then we are bringing back Frequency, which was it's a 4-day festival. Oh. It's a biennial, so we did not have it this year, but it's happening. We did not have it in 2022, but we're having it here in 23, and it does happen in September, and it's reminiscent of Glow, but without the fire. So it's more tech, lights, it's very exciting. The dates for that are September 21st through the 24th. That'll take place in Abbott Square and the MA. And you can learn more about that as well through our website. But we are actively seeking volunteers for that. Also, some of our Evergreen Cemetery programs and events like Beyond the Grave, which is happening in May. And then also with exhibition gallery support as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. It sounds like there's just so much happening. It almost feels like we had this. I should not make this reference given that the Sierras are now melting and we're going to have that issue. But it's like the dam is breaking. There's just we all held our breath for so long and doing so much. So that's really cool.
Yeah, spring especially in the downtown district there are so many events, and it draws so many locals and to downtown. Summer kind of has its own flow with tourism, but spring is where we really put a lot of effort into drawing locals. The weather's great, and everyone's gearing up for summer, and
yeah.
And I think you're right. Last year we saw events come back. We put on a lot of events, but this year it seems like everyone's event is back.
Yes.
Anything that is coming back is back now, and if you weren't sure last year, now you're sure.
Yeah.
It's safe, and it's really great to see the full calendar of things. There's so many things that go on downtown that we don't have any hand in that we're just excited to see coming up this summer. The Pride Festival is back, Greek Festival. There's a new AAPI festival.
Juneteenth is coming back as well.
Juneteenth is that's been strong throughout. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is that Santa Cruzans are just going to have to, give up on ever being able to do anything else, because it sounds like we're going to be awfully busy. But yeah, I love what you said about spring and the weather and locals. I always think it's so funny when I go to the beach right after Labor Day and we get our best weather.
Yes.
And it's empty. Like all the tourists are gone. So yeah.
It's like when my children ask to go to the boardwalk on the weekends. I say, that does not happen for locals. We go on Tuesdays. So.
Exactly, yeah. So Zach, why don't you chime in and tell us a little bit about, from the perspective of business owners, what you're seeing this summer and coming up, and also, if you know any of the new owners, anything that you have to add?
Let's see. We've covered a lot. I kind of wanted to jump in to something we were talking about with regard to the kids. My 3 children, the oldest is 12, so I can't wait until they can start volunteering. They're just now getting there, and I'm really looking forward pushing them into all these volunteer opportunities, because I think it's a fantastic way to find out what's going on in your community and connect with other people. But right now, they're just stoked to go downtown. My middle son, he loves rocks and gems, and downtown has that. My older son is into mountain biking downtown. Spokesman were in there looking at drooling over bikes and buying helmets and all those sorts of things. So it's fantastic. And then as far as what's coming up, well, I don't know if now's a good time. I'd love to just talk a little bit about this Outstanding in the Field event that's happening on Cedar Street, if I can touch on that.
Go for it. I looked it up and I thought that sounds really familiar, but I didn't really know what it was. So give us a little history of what it is before you tell us about this year's event.
Yeah. So my business partner, Kendra, who is our chef and is culinary individual extraordinaire, she got her start working at Gabriella Cafe, which has been in downtown for a quarter of a century plus. And Jim Denovan was the chef at that time, and he came up with this idea of doing these farm dinners and really turning it into this formalized event that could travel and at this point they're all over the country. They're international, Europe, Canada. I think they just did a run at this Coachella, which just wrapped up. But they're kind of coming full circle, and they're going to be on Cedar Street, right between Gabriella Cafe and then the Penny Ice Creamery where we are, and bringing kind of a bunch of the original players back together. So Kendra was working at Gabriella when it got started, and Jim was there, and it's this idea of connecting with local chefs, local farms, and creating this farm to table dinner. And typically it's done on a farm, but it's pretty neat that they're going to do it right, essentially in the middle of downtown.
And it's sort of cool, metaphorically, that your business partner started at Gabriella and now it's Penny Ice Creamery, and it's spanning those two businesses. I like it. Very, very geometric of you. And so, what happens at this event? What do you do?
It's a fantastic multi-course dinner.
It's like a 300-person table. One long table down the center of the entire block.
Wow.
And which street again?
On Cedar.
Cedar Street, right where Penny and Gabriella's are.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's their signature look, is this one long table. There's a quote that I can't remember who I should be attributing to, but it's something along the lines of, instead of building taller fences, we should build longer tables. And every time I see this table when they set it up, and we've been fortunate enough to participate in a number of these dinners over the years at different locations in Santa Cruz County. When you see that table, it illustrates in its physical manifestation what it is to bring community together. So it's pretty cool.
How do you make dinner for 300 people downtown? Where is it physically being made?
Gabriella's.
Really? Do they have that big of? That's amazing. I mean, I assume the kitchen.
I assume Penny's going to be put to work too.
Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. I mean, I am not a chef, and I can't even pretend to understand how it all comes together. But that is really where the skill of the people that work in kitchens and practice this craft, where that skill shines, is the ability to coordinate all of that. But it happens. I mean, and like I said, they do it on farms. They do it in all kinds of. Do it on beaches, all kinds of crazy, challenging to work in environments. Uh-huh. So I think this one will actually probably go very smoothly because we'll have all the nice built infrastructure of our downtown to support it.
Yeah. And what are some of I assume that the food is the materials are being provided by local farms?
Yes. And I think we'll know, more about the specifics as we get closer. If I can just touch on that a little bit, because we have very close connections to the local ag community, and I want to acknowledge that it's been an extremely challenging start to the year.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it in the produce that's available and kind of how it's affecting the supply chain when we look at the kind of normal schedule of flavors that we would roll out in the spring, and then contrasting that with what's available and the impacts of the storms. But it's not just it's not just the rain and the dirt. It's things like the tractor repair shop in Pajaro Valley being 3 feet underwater and not being able to fix broken tractors for farmers, causing them delays in that respect. So I feel like being connected to that part of the world, it's important to acknowledge the challenges that the ag community and all the support that goes into that is facing right now. And again, it goes back to the importance of supporting local, because just because we may not be able to get something, we're getting rhubarb just now, and typically we might have gotten that a little earlier. Just because we're not getting it when we normally would, it doesn't mean that we're looking outside of our community. We're going to wait. We're going to continue to support the local farms, and so supporting businesses in the downtown just helps reinforce all of that web and that network.
Yeah, I know that it's been amazing. My husband and I are regulars at the Aptos Farmers Market, and it's still, all the vendors are still not back. It is still much lower than it was, and that really hits home, that how different this year is. And I know that one of the volunteers here at the station, Ronnie Lipschutz, is, and actually some others at the station, have a nonprofit, the Sustainable Systems Research Foundation, and they are collecting donations for farmers that they're helping in Pajaro who are still struggling because their fields are still not able to be planted in some cases. So it's really important for us as a community to support them. So where can people get more information about the event?
Outstanding in the Field has a website, and it's
it's just outstandinginthefield.com, and then you can click on their events and you'll see a picture of Gabriella's, and that's the downtown event.
All right. So anyone who's listening, think about going and supporting your local chefs, local farmers. That's really cool.
Yeah, just not to talk about Outstanding in the Field, just want to talk about Cedar Street. A lot of folks think that downtown is just Pacific Avenue, and Cedar Street is one of these booming side streets that it's so great that Outstanding in the Field happens to be on that street, because it kind of gives a lot of visibility to this thriving community that's forming there. In addition to Penny Ice Creamery, there's So Fresh Clothing, there's Get Faded Barbershop, there's Flower Bar and Gabriella's and the Honeybee Market, and it's really just own little hub of it's a side street off downtown. So it's nice that it's going to be there, and people are going to see all these businesses that are this huge asset to our downtown community.
There is a
go ahead.
There is a fantastic Japanese pop-up that's happening right now, and I want to say it's definitely on Fridays, because that's when I've been going, but I think there's a couple other days as well on the corner of Cedar and Locust right now. Highly recommend.
Yes, in front of next to the Red Room. It's I saw it on Saturday too. It's like a pop-up yakitori. Yeah.
So delicious.
That sounds very good. Okay. And I know that I'm on the board of the Jazz Society, and we had been looking for a home for our twice monthly Backbeat Jam, and we are moved in at Pono Grill downtown. I'm very
happy to hear that.
Yeah.
What great news.
Yeah. So
also off Cedar Street.
Yeah,
Union,
exactly. That's what I was
Cedar,
thinking.
yeah.
It's right there, and so I'm suddenly spending more time in that area of town. And it's nice to see that these businesses really do seem to be coming back. Like there's lots of people coming out now.
Yeah, that's another thriving pocket of activity up there, Pono and 11th Hour, and they have a great music scene that's been really regular. So I'm glad to hear that jazz group is going to be able to be in there.
Yeah, and that's so. So talk a little bit about the arts downtown, and I guess Nikki, you can start, but you've said a little bit about what is showing now. But yeah, you've got a list.
I have a list. We have a new exhibition opening up May 12th. It is by an acclaimed multidisciplinary artist, Chanupa Hansker Luger, who is an indigenous artist. And the opening reception will happen on May 11th, and then the exhibit will be open to the public on the 12th. And we're really excited to feature this work. I just did a post today on our social media, so if you'd like a little insight there, you can check us out at Santa Cruz Ma on Instagram and Facebook.
How do people, if they wanted to go to the opening, is that for members of the museum, or do you buy tickets?
Yes, it is. Okay. The reception is for members. We are doing a spring membership campaign right now. That is a full topic, but
gosh, I have to put in a plug. I just found out I've been a member for like 12 years, and I just always joined it like whatever got me and my kids in, because that's normal. But this year, I learned that you can become a fan member, which was only $125. It was a little bit more than I normally pay, but I also get admission to thousands of different museums all around the country, and dozens of them in the Bay Area, which is fun for me when we're going around. It gives me an excuse to go check out or go do something when I'm in other places, and drag my kids along to see some art in other places too. So I was excited about that fan membership.
It's a great perk, for members, especially going into summer planning. If you already have your plans, you can look and see what museum they have in the local area and get to experience that as well.
But the basic membership, which I have, gives you tons of discounts at other businesses
downtown.
We have downtown
discount partners. So if you're a MA member at any level, you do have access to over 20 different downtown businesses. Because the MA, we are a community-based organization, and we love to uplift the work that's happening here in Santa Cruz County.
I didn't know that, and I am a member, so I'll have to take a look at that.
I would say my discounts that I've received at Cat and Cloud Coffee in Ebbett Square have fully paid for my MA membership, so it's all balanced.
Yeah. I should mention too, when you asked about the arts downtown, First Friday has been just really picking up again, like you said, about events coming back and really people being ready for it. We've really seen that with First Friday. There's always a bunch of downtown galleries and also businesses that participate in being like a gallery on those First Fridays. They throw receptions for the artists, and it's like a party at what used to be half a dozen locations and is now is often a dozen locations downtown. So you can come get dinner, you can walk around and see tons of different shows. I know a great new show just opened at Minnow Arts. I love it. I love plants, and they're made out of wood. It's very cool.
And curated by C, another gallery on Front Street, has shows all the time and changing art.
So there you have it. And also one other new perk we're adding as part of the spring membership campaign is on First Fridays, we're adding a members lounge. So you can come and get some refreshments and a little bite and a sneak peek at what's to come.
Dorian and I will put on our fancy gowns.
That's right. I want to be in the lounge.
No, this is Santa Cruz. If you came in your pajamas, you'd probably be, you know.
Just kidding. We're wearing jeans.
All are welcome.
All right. So we'll take a little break here, and we will be right back with more talk of the Bay. I should remind people who are listening what you're listening to. I am talking about downtown everything with four people who are deeply involved in downtown everything. Jorian Wilkins and Shiri Gradek from the Downtown Association, Nikki Patterson from the Ma, and Zachary Davis from Penny Ice Creamery and the Glass Jar. And so we're talking about all stuff downtown. And one of the things I mentioned library, and that brought up a hugely important issue, some of which has been contentious, about development downtown. So talk a little bit about the development. What's happening? How much, there's just seems like there's a lot of housing being built, and tell us a little bit about it, who it's being built for, who you expect to move into downtown, and so forth.
Yeah.
Oop. There we go.
There we are. Hi. There's a ton going on with development downtown. There's obviously the downtown library, which most of Santa Cruz has heard about and had the chance to vote on recently. And downtown businesses are really happy to see that that's going forward, because we're really supportive of having, multi-million-dollar family attraction downtown. And if you've seen the new libraries around the community, they're gorgeous, and we can't wait to get ours. We're really excited about that library. But it also comes with some really important affordable housing. Affordable housing is also really important to downtown businesses, because we care a lot about our employees having a place to live near where they work. So we're just really excited about that for many reasons, and also about the other downtown developments, which together represent now permitted over 1,400 new housing units.
Wow.
And that's across, I think, 7 or 8 different buildings. So, the library is one of them, but there are also a couple more really large ones. The Metro Center is being redeveloped. And I think that's going to be something we can all be proud of. It is going to be a green project. They're getting a ton of funding to make sure that it's going to be a zero carbon emissions building. It's also 100% affordable housing. And then there's a bunch of more market rate units also coming in, which I think is important for having a good mix down that can, support our economy and all the different needs of our community. And even the market rate units also have some portion of them that are affordable housing, but a lot of those are being built along the riverfront. And I think the riverfront is going to be so cool. If you think about the way downtown is now, we have that huge embankment, which we can all be so thankful for, especially after seeing the river rise this winter. So good thing they built that embankment with a lot of wisdom. But it also sort of turned downtown's back on the river, and it's such a beautiful feature. And the future development has fully considering that. And so there's both ground floor entry on the first floor from Front Street, as well as second floor retail spilling out onto the riverfront of all the new developments that are coming from Soquel down to Laurel on Front Street. And almost that entire block of Front Street between Soquel and Laurel is now under development along the riverfront. So people see boarded up buildings there and they think, oh, what's happening downtown? What's happening is we're about to get a gorgeous new riverfront development. And those have been permitted and I think all but one now financed. So we're really excited that those are going forward.
Nikki, you looks like you really wanted to chime in there.
No, I'm very excited about this. Just our location is on Front Street, and I think having more housing and residents downtown, the more eyes, the better, and people really care about where they live. So I'm looking forward to this growth, and it's going to happen, period. So it's nice to have community involvement. I've been very impressed with the inclusive conversations around it, publicly with the community. And I just see all the effort that's going into this. And as somebody that's on Front Street way too much as an employee, I do welcome it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and so when you envision the lifestyle of people who are going to be moving into these developments, how many of them do you think will either be working at home or working downtown and not? One of the concerns, of course, is always adding more traffic to our already difficult traffic situations. So is there are there any estimates about population and what they'll be doing, who they'll be?
I mean, I wish I had those statistics. One of the reasons that a lot of these affordable housing projects have been permitted so quickly is because there are new California laws about if you build these buildings within proximity to public transportation centers like our Metro Center. It allows for all these. I think the idea is that people are able to use public transportation, and certainly more so able to use public transportation when you build your density in a downtown area than if you were to spread that out. How are you ever supposed to have an affordable public transportation network for people? So, I mean, exactly the question you're answering is exactly one of the reasons that drives the density, is trying to figure out how do we affordably provide public transportation. And if you're going to live, it does allow you to live much closer to your work for anyone who lives downtown, obviously. And we do see a big trend for people working at home. And we have seen a lot of people who used to work over the hill now working in Santa Cruz, and needing more space to do that. So,
yeah, I know it really hit home for me how big of a crisis of housing we had when a childhood friend, contacted me to find out about housing in Santa Cruz. She was interested in moving to California, and she's wealthy, and she couldn't find a place to buy. so I thought, okay, this really, because in my writing career, of course, I've written about all sorts of things. One of them being teachers needing places to live in the community. And I interviewed a teacher who was homeless in her car while being in the care, trusted with the care of kids in kindergarten in Santa Cruz City schools. So we have a real problem that is much more multifaceted than sometimes the arguments seem to be. So, it's good to hear the positives, and the negatives are also important. The things that people are concerned about are also important. And certainly at KSQD, we've been covering a lot of the concerns, and I will try to link to some of those podcasts. But as I already said, my little PSA here, you need to listen to more Talk of the Bay, because we've been covering all sorts of stuff, and we do cover housing and development from all perspectives. So we today, you three, of course, are on the side of being positive about development and about our community. But we also need the people who come in here and tell us what we should be worried about. So just
I think we all want to keep Santa Cruz special, So I think I couldn't agree with you more that as we, at the same time that we advocate for having the housing that's needed for the community, we want to see that be as beautiful and bespoke and green, and we want it to be the downtown that we've always had and we can dream of, not just any old downtown.
Not just the downtown, but the city. I want the city to keep its character and its charm and that small town feel, but I also feel equity. Equity in housing is also just as important. And there is a compromise, and the pros outweigh the cons if you're, debating all the developments.
And Zach, you can certainly chime in here. I know that that you're being able to give good employment to people who are essentially, because of the structure of the restaurant industry, there's a lot of lower wage jobs in the restaurant industry.
Yeah. We definitely have people that are, just starting out, first jobs for a lot of people, as young as 14, who are, they're not buying houses, and they're not certainly not being compensated at a level that would allow them to afford a house in Santa Cruz. But it doesn't. That's not where they are in their lives. But we also have employees. One of the things that makes us special is we're actually a licensed dairy manufacturing plant. We have state certified pasteurizers. Those are individuals who are licensed to pasteurize that work at a career level, and they really struggle to find housing, and that's a problem. So we certainly support the creation of additional housing stock and especially affordable housing to just create some more space for people to live. And one thing I did want to just touch on, kind of a specific, but I think it speaks to a larger issue, is I think there was a lot of concern around what will happen to the farmers market, just as an example, because it's a treasure. And our downtown farmers market is an absolute treasure, as I've talked about. But paying attention to what's going on and getting involved in those conversations early, so that when things get announced, people don't feel like that it's coming out of the blue. Sometimes it takes a little searching, and I know it can be a little frustrating, but the conversations are being had. And without getting into specifics, I can say that the farmers market absolutely stands to benefit from the changes that are happening in our downtown. And just one of the things I touched on being a hub for distribution to downtown restaurants and other food service, they're looking to create a space that has infrastructure to really turn that into a permanent space that would allow them to do that on a much larger level and really be a hub for the ag community to connect with downtown businesses. So I just encourage folks to, ask around at the farmers market, check, the various websites where you get information and be part of those conversations, because the farmers market would love your support. I think our community benefits when people get involved early in these conversations and get their input in and they feel like their voices are heard and the good ideas can come out.
Yeah, I will say that I grew up in a town that had a permanent farmers market structure downtown, and it was wonderful. The farmers just rolled up, and none of this setting up shade units and everything. It was all just there. They'd roll up and unpack, and they'd be ready to go. So when I read that that's one of the possibilities, I was really excited because I have very fond memories of my childhood farmers market. And especially actually going there in the winter when it was snowy and there were no farmers, and it was just always so interesting to me. We don't have that here, luckily.
Thank goodness. We don't have socks. Or I don't.
Indeed. And so Zach, as far as the housing issue that we were talking about having more people living downtown, how are business owners seeing that? And do you see the business community responding in any way, perhaps, expanding what they're offering? Because, we have a lot of businesses that are more tourist oriented, a lot that are more, local oriented. Do you think that will affect the balance?
Well, I can just say that having more people living and circulating in the downtown absolutely benefits downtown businesses. It at all levels. It just creates that energy and that vitality on the street. The convenience for the folks that are living there to be able to pop into, whether it's a retail clothing store or a place to get a bite to eat or something to drink. The convenience can't be underestimated, and just the walkability and being able to run into people. I mean, that's one of my favorite things about our downtown is the fact that it's rare that I can walk through our downtown and not see someone I know that I was not expecting to see and just have a conversation and catch up. I think that that just really exemplifies what makes the downtown special, is that it's a place where everyone goes and you get to run into them and see them and find out what they've been up to, and it just makes it really special.
Yeah, and that connects back to what I was saying earlier about mental health research. I've been listening to a podcast about that it's a researcher who researches hanging out, which sounded a little fluffy, but no, it's actually really serious. She talked about all the changes that have happened in our society, everything from working to home to the part I just listened to, headphones, little tiny earbuds that cut us off from other people, and how huge of an effect this is having on our society. And when you have a space like the downtown space, people are more engaged with each other, more likely to have conversations that they wouldn't have had. And I think it's a feature of Santa Cruz. It was one of my first times here to visit my then boyfriend. He and I were in a cafe, and he started chatting with the guy at the next table. And when the guy left, he said, "Oh, I suppose I should tell you, I've never met that guy before. This is very Santa Cruz. People just turn and talk to you, joining in your conversation." And he's right. I mean, it was something I wasn't used to. It's like, really? You don't know this guy? That's crazy. All right, one quick final question, just a little lightning round here. Your personal favorite spot downtown, and I will start with you, Zach.
Oh, gosh, you're putting me on the spot. Well, I do have to say that brunch at Gabriella is one of my favorites, and incredibly romantic if you do have a significant other in your life and you want to take them somewhere just absolutely sweet and endearing. It's fantastic.
All right, Nikki.
This is so tough. Currently, right now, my favorite go-to is Oswald. Just the community there is always just heartfelt and touching, and I walk in and always know somebody, and I always meet someone new.
Okay, Shiri.
I love Abbott Square. Abbott Square Market. It's just such a great place to gather. Just like Zach mentioned, you walk in and you're going to recognize everyone. It's great for meetings, for lunches, for going out in the evening. It's a jewel that we have in our downtown district.
It is a jewel.
And Jorian, finish us up.
I can't pick just one, but I'm a vegetarian, so I have to shout out some of the new vegetarian places. The Buzz Sushi is amazing. Mariposa Cuban coffee and Vietnamese food's amazing. And I think everyone's already heard about Honeybee
Market.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we've been speaking about downtown Santa Cruz, so put it on your calendar if you have a family, Children's Day, and I will have a podcast that will go up on KSQD.org pretty soon, maybe tonight, and it will have links to all the stuff that we've discussed, so you can just go to KSQD.org, and it'll be right there on the front page, or you can go to Talk of the Bay. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, and thanks for listening, everyone. Please return every weekday at 5 p.m. for more Talk of the Bay.